Hello everybody and welcome to Poland Daily Travel. The next series of episodes will take you around Warsaw looking at what is perhaps the most captivating and surprising feature of Poland today. That is the Warsaw skyline. Warsaw has the sixth highest skyline in Europe. That's after Moscow, Paris, London, Istanbul, and Frankfurt. The Warsaw Center, under construction now, promises to be 310 meters, and at that height, the tallest skyscraper outside of Moscow in Europe. Tall buildings are nothing new for Warsaw, surprisingly enough. Not a lot of people know that the tallest skyscraper in Central Europe was in Warsaw in about 1910. That's the radio tower. And then there was the Prudential Insurance Building, now the Warsaw or the Warszawa Hotel. So Warsaw skyline has in recent years become one of the most impressive in Europe. And it's continuing to rise. The Warsaw Tower will be marginally higher at 310 meters than the Shard in London. So we are going to go from the old to the new over the next series of episodes. And we'll also take a trip around the Palace of Culture, that iconic landmark which was a present from the Soviet Union to the people of Warsaw. Actually more like an offer you couldn't refuse. So sit back and come along. We'll try to show you something constructive, entertaining, and informative. I suppose we can build on that. So it's Poland Daily, and we're looking at the Warsaw skyline. Come along. Hello everybody, and welcome back to Poland Daily Travel. And we're ending this series of episodes here, kind of where the new construction of the tall office buildings really began. It's the Warsaw Trade Tower, but used to be known as the Building of Wu, Daewoo.
Of Daewoo, the car company, which is not that popular anymore, but in these days, in Poland, it was a very popular building. Yeah. And also the history of Warsaw Trade Tower Center is cutting edge. They finished this building at the end of millennium in 1999, and it was also a promise of something new that really happened, as far as we saw it during last 7 episodes. So this tower brought in a city of Wola, in territory of former ghetto, proved to Polish people and Warsawians that we can do it, that we can really construct buildings higher than 200 meters, because this one has 208, so still it's third highest building in Warsaw after Warsaw Spire, and still the highest Palace of Culture and Science. Look for how long we have been waiting for this higher building than Palace of Culture and Science, but the promise of this thing happening one day is right behind us. So what a great place to finish
this series. It's a great place to finish, but the company went bankrupt. So what it was a huge promise of the corporate, this new sort of capitalist corporate culture. And then built by the South Korean company, Daewoo, and then they promptly went out of business. Their car business, the building went into some sort of disuse, a period of disuse or underuse.
Oh, it's still underused. Yeah. There are very important constructors inside. But when it comes to one company bankrupting, well, life.
What?
Life.
Yeah, exactly. But it's, buildings have a life. When the Empire State Building was first built,
yes,
it was opened in 1931. It was started right around the time of the stock market crash, so 1929. It opened in 1931. They put it up very fast. It was by far the tallest building in the world at that point. And it's still, people didn't think that it didn't get occupied because people didn't think it would be successful. So the history of skyscrapers has not always been, they're often a gamble. They've not always been successful right off the bat. And I think it's worth noting that all of these buildings being built in Warsaw, all of them have to be filled. And as you say, all of them have a life. Every building has a life. It's its own, I won't say ecosystem because it's such a cliche, but it's its own system. It has its own, you enter into a building of this size and it has its own life. I mean, you're pretty much separated from life outside. And the people who work there become, in some sense, the blood if you will, of the building. You know? Without people in it,
Well put.
it's just a shell, isn't it? Yeah. So all of these buildings have to claim their population, if you will. And it's a population, and sometimes it's a living occupying a habitation population. Sometimes it's a business population. Sometimes it's a combination. That's what we've seen looking at these different buildings. They're up. Now they have to really live through the people occupying them. And it remains to be seen. That's a new thing for Warsaw, I suppose. And it remains to be seen how it develops.
So there's nothing left to do but booking a flight to Poland, Warsaw, booking Arthur Warsaw guide who will show you all these places.
I think it's a good idea.
And also so many other
book
places
you.
in
Yeah.
Warsaw. You do, I thank you.
Yeah, and I
It's
would
thanks to
book you if I were traveling, someone like you, but I don't know of anyone like you. Yeah. Yeah.
So-
Maybe Peter, your partner, who's also been on the show.
He's great.
Yeah, he's a great guy, and very knowledgeable as well. So, but the point of these episodes is to show the epic changing skyline of the city, and to show that the transformation continues 70 years after the destruction, 75 years after the destruction of the city in 1944. So, and into 45. So,
And that's
it's
an
really,
amazing change.
It's an amazing change, and when you see the skyline, I hope when people see this series of episodes, they're going to say, "What a transformation in the city, and an exciting transformation." But we'll see what it means. We'll see what it means, because the buildings have to take on a life of their own, and then contribute to the overall growth of the city. And there's a lot more to come.
Surely yes.
There's quite a number of buildings being built, over 100 to 200 meters and over.
And there is still a lot of place in the city center because still area of former ghetto contains a lot of empty areas
Right.
which are not used anymore.
Yeah.
There are a lot of conversations to whom exactly the land should belong. But after these answers
Yeah.
are provided, either way people decide to construct something great, something new, something very useful, something even higher and taller. And it seems that Warsaw heads exactly that direction.
Right.
To be taller, to be greater, to be higher. It's still a clean city, it's still a neat city. We are standing
Yeah, I
right
think
next.
that's right. Yeah, we're standing right in front of the building, a nice little park here. And also, that's a point worth making. There are a lot of good walking spaces. So, and the buildings tend to be clustered in certain areas. We're in this area near Ronda Daszyńskiego.
Yes.
We were in Emily Platter, where a lot
Correct.
of buildings.
And still white pavements.
clustered. And
So
so it's still friendly to pedestrians, and
friendly for
the buildings aren't
pedestrians.
inhuman. It's not an inhuman thing. They don't shut out the sunlight.
Another thing I wanted to point out, we are standing right next to the street, very busy, very wide street, every single inch occupied, and no one honked. And we've been talking for 6 minutes at the moment, and no one
Has blown a
honked.
horn. Yeah, and it's Friday evening rush hour. Yeah, yeah, Friday evening rush hour. So anyway, I mean, there's a history in this building. It really kicked off the skyscraper
Yes,
age
yes,
in
yes.
Warsaw. So it's a good place to begin and end,
Yes.
or to end our series, but also to show the beginning of this expansion up into the sky in
Well-
a city which used to be pretty low down.
Well, what a pleasure it was to be
Yeah.
invited by you, to be hosted by Poland Daily Travel, to be able to show you amazing heritage, legacy of people who live in here today, and so that thanks to you guys, we are able to show this, to promote this, to show something surely unexpected. Because when we travel, we would like to be surprised at some point.
Sure,
So
yeah.
Warsaw is surprising. These buildings are surprising, and what a surprisingly beautiful Friday.
Beautiful evening, isn't it?
we have today.
Okay, it's time to go home for this time. Thank you, Arthur. It's been great. A
Thank
great
you, Will.
pleasure.
Been
Thank
great
you very
indeed.
much for your conversation, which I always enjoy. You're a wonderful conversationalist. That's it from Poland Daily Travel. We've been showing you the skyline of Warsaw, and that's a pretty good example behind us. You'll see all this when you come to Warsaw, and we hope you'll do it soon. Please, if you like this show, subscribe to us on YouTube and like this video. Thank you very much. I'm Will, and this is Arthur, and have a good day.
Have a good one.